Welcome to Gist Media podcast show, a place where we talk about real life conversations on real issues that affect us as humans. Today, we are going to be speaking on the theme maybe you should talk to someone. And we have created 4 different episodes, and we believe that each episode is going to meet you at the point of your need. I have come to understand that I like to mention that this podcast is made possible with technology driven softwares. And I like to mention that for this podcast to be possible, I used Podcastle. Podcastle is a software used in creating podcasts, and I also use Microsoft Clipchamp. Microsoft Clipchamp is like a video editor where you can edit, you crop, you cut and join. Yeah. And I also use Zoom. At some point in the podcast, we had to interview some guests on Zoom. Then I use Audacity. Audacity is the software used to record your audio, to record your microphone, sorry, to record your voice, more like a voiceover app. And we also use Canva. Appreciate the guests that accepted to do this with me. Honestly, I gave them this notice on Thursday evening, and these guys were available on Friday. I like to appreciate them for getting to inconvenience themselves to make this podcast possible. So please, any of the faces you see on this podcast, please help me appreciate them. Help me tell them thank you, because at a very short notice, they came through for me to be able to do this project. Also, I'd like to mention that this is a Toastmasters International project. This project has been assigned to me to create a podcast, and I had to go through the process of getting to know the basics, the rudiment of how to create a podcast. And I can tell you, it's a very fulfilling experience and a very fulfilling journey. Please join me and see the efforts which we have made in creating the podcast. Thank you so much and enjoy. What makes talking about personal struggle so impactful to mental and emotional health? What, in your opinion, do you think that makes talking about personal struggle so impactful for mental and emotional health?
Important for our mental health. So when you reached out to me concerning this podcast and I saw the topic, immediately it was something I could relate to, because currently I had a discussion with someone that led to that discovery that I needed to talk to a counselor about that thing I was going through. And when she recommended I speak to a counselor, for me, I was like, counselor, it's not that deep. I don't need to talk to anybody about this. I think it's something I can figure out. But after thinking about it deeply, I decided to reach out to a counselor. And yesterday, coincidentally, was our first session. We talked for well over 1 hour, maybe almost 2 hours. And after our conversation, I realized that it was important that I spoke to him. So what were some discoveries I was able to get after our conversation? First, it became apparent that I had a lot of emotions that had been bottling down over the years. And because I was not addressing it, I really was not making a way forward with respect to that activity. So I think coming into that space where we can talk to someone about our problems first gives us that breather. It gives us that freedom. It gives us that calm Because sometimes we do not even know how well these things that we are bottling, how negative it can be, because we do not address them.
Toastmaster Adeniran Omitayo, and he is a mechanical engineer and astute business development executive in the energy sector. He is married to a very beautiful wife.
Why do you think people often avoid talking about their problems, even though it could help them?
Thank you very much for that question. Because number one, rejection is one of the reasons why people hardly talk about their problems to others. According to APA, that's American Psychological Association, said, as far as our brain is concerned, a broken heart may not be so different from a broken heart. People often avoid talking to people because of their social rejection, because they will be judged.
Thank you, Scott, who is a driven business management expert with almost 20 years of diverse experience in energy and business consulting.
The question how we can make it easier to talk about our feelings and struggles to other people. It's by creating a safe environment, a non-judgmental environment. It's very important. When people know that they will not be criticized or they will not be misunderstood or judged, they are much more likely to open up. I appreciate the story shared by TM Deniran, and that really showed he trusted his friend and he had to go open up to his friend. But what he expected was not what he got, and that made him go back into his own shell. But if his friend had been able to create that safe environment and that non-judgmental environment, I want to believe it would have encouraged him to want to open up more.
How do we know when someone is safe and supportive person? Toastmaster Chidal, over to you.
As well. So your question goes, how do we know if someone is a safe and supportive person to talk to? Wow. So emphasis on safe and supportive. For me, you need to have a proven record that you are a good, a safe, and a supportive friend. You know, you can't really judge a book by its cover. And like they say, they show for face, which means somebody being supportive and safe and trustworthy is not written on their faces. So before you can really ascertain that someone is the right person to talk to, you must have had some relationship with the person. You must have studied the person for a period of time, because you can't just jump on anyone you see just because you feel down, you want to let it out, you want to unburden, and then you go into the hands of the wrong person. So you need to be careful and study the person that you want to confide in. And for me, people are different. People wear different garments for different situations. You can have a friend that shows empathy, that shows that he or she is supportive. And when it's time to show that support, the friend is nowhere to be found.
And quickly moving on to our next guest, and she joining us all the way from Burkina Faso. Yes, for those who don't know Burkina Faso is in West Africa. We'll be calling her on the stage to get to also speak on the topic, finding the right person to talk to with the team. Maybe you should talk to someone. And the question that I have for her today is, why is it important to choose the right people when opening up about personal challenges?
Ube, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for this amazing topic that you have given us the chance to talk about. Choosing the right person is not an easy task, but choosing the right person is an important task when it comes to talking about yourself, when it comes to sharing your personal story, your personal matter with someone. Why it is important to choose the right person? You should choose a person that is available to listen to you. You should be able to choose a person that is patient to listen to you, a person that may support you and not judge you. It is very important. A person that is trustworthy, because you may not want to take the risk to talk about yourself, open yourself to someone who will later on talk about what you have given to him, what you talk to him in confidence. So it is important to have somebody that is trustworthy. It is also important to have somebody that is respectful. All these are, I can say, characteristics of the person you may want to.
Then to begin with someone who I respect the most, and he is a seasoned business development executive. He is no other than Yusuf. How can another person's perspective help us see our own situations more clearly? Over to you, Mr. Yusuf.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ebube, and thank you for this section. When we are confined in our own thoughts and our own situations, we tend not to see clearly more than what people will actually see. There is a saying that says that, right, that a shade or a lantern cannot see beneath itself. So it also helps you to break free from your own biasness. Because, for instance, whereby you actually have an idea of what you've constrained yourself to, when people actually share or when people see from other perspective that is not yours, it makes you to see, or they tend to see you more than you can see yourself.
Moving on quickly to contact Mary Asika. I'm going to ask you a very short question, and the question is this: can you share a time when talking to someone provided a perspective shift for a client or a
Okay,
friend?
thank you so much. Um, I just want to give an example. I had a client career who was struggling with career decision. So after speaking with someone in a similar field, so they realized that their passion aligned with a different, like it's aligned with a different and with a different path.
Quickly move on to the Mr. Chuka, who is the resident architect of Pyramids
So
PLC. My question is, what are the benefits of looking beyond our own thoughts by talking to others?
one, I believe one of the benefits are that it can actually relieve us of our tunnel vision. I mean, when we hear other perspectives, we actually get a broader understanding that can help us make more balanced decisions. I mean, in life, we all go through struggles in life, and we all need to, you know, have other perspectives in terms of life decisions that can make us have an informed decision. So when we talk to others, we have more ideas, and then we can also be on the right
Sean,
path.
well done for your masterpiece, who is the current president of Unity Toastmasters Club in Abuja. And in this episode, we will narrow down our discussion to the role of mentors in having someone to talk to.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ebube. An interesting question there, the signs of a good mentor-mentee relationship. The importance of mentoring cannot be overemphasized. We need it in our day-to-day activities, even within your family. You mentor one another to help each other grow. So it's important. It's just like any other relationship, right? When it's good, when you have everything going on where you see that you get to to benefit or reap the benefits of a relationship. So in the case of a mentor-mentee relationship, for me, I would say some signs to show that you have a healthy relationship, that the relationship that exists between a mentor and a mentee is that there's mutual respect. So the mentee has respect for his mentor, and the mentor has respect for his mentee as well. And how do you show that? When you show up, you approach someone, or you have someone mentoring you in an area, for instance, it behoves on you as the mentee to show dedication, right? That you're dedicated to that course and you're ready to learn. And it also behoves on the mentor to avail his time. So for me, signs that you have a good mentor-mentee relationship is that there's mutual respect, and then there is open communication. Your mentee should be able to open up to you so that you can then know how best to mentor that mentee. Different strokes for different folks. You don't expect that the same way you mentored mentee A would be the same way you mentor mentee B. So you have to have a sort of healthy relationship with your mentee to give room for open dialogue, open communication, or maybe there's something he's not so okay in the way you're mentoring him, or the way you give feedback. If you have an open communication with your mentee, the mentee will be able to relate to you. Oh, I'm not so okay with the way I received this feedback, or these are my areas of weaknesses that I would want you to help me or mentor me